Herrick, Robert Herrick, To the Virgins That Make Much of Time. This is the other, I think, more tasteful poem that is the Carpe Diem poem, To the Virgins Who Make Much of Time. Gather ye rosebuds while ye may, old time is still a-flying. And this same flower that smiles today, tomorrow will be dying. The glorious lamp of heaven, the sun, the higher he's a-getting, the sooner will his race be run, and the nearer he's to setting. That age is best which is first, when youth and blood are warmer, but being spent, the worst and worst times still succeed the former. Then be not coy, but use your time, and while ye may, go marry. For having lost but once your prime, you may forever tarry. I think it's a little bit more tasteful, a little bit better, you know? We don't need to worms trying your virginity. I mean, this is just to the virgins that make much of time. You know, it's like to young, chaste women who are like, oh, there's lots of time. Don't worry. We'll be fine. He's saying, no, not really. He's saying, gather the roses would be a symbol of love, passion, desire, heat, expression of love. You know, I got my man 100 roses. 100 roses, that's too many. Dozen. Gather your rosebuds while they're alive, while they're red, while they're not decaying. Old time is still a-flying. And I don't know, a flying and a getting, that's just not normal. It's just different. I don't know how to describe it other than it's a compound word, you know, and it's just not, you just don't see that very often. Old time is a-flying, and this same flower that smiles today, tomorrow will be dying. Carpe diem, seize the day. The glorious lamp of heaven. Okay, so the metaphor is, you know, like here we have life, birth. The higher it gets, the older you're getting, and the more it's coming close to, oh no, hey, oh no, no, and then you're dead. The glorious lamp of heaven, the sun, the higher he's getting, the sooner his race will be won, and the nearer is to setting. So like it's just time is ticking all the time. The age is best which is first. It's talking about being young. When youth and blood are warmer, but being spent, the worse and worse. So your worst days are coming later. And so don't be coy. And then there's kind of a pun with marry. Go marry someone, or be merry, be happy while you can, right? Because if you don't, you might miss it. It's like Ferris Bueller. You know, stop and look around sometimes, you might miss it. Okay, I think it's a little more tasteful, but let's go, and I really want to read this one, Delight in Disorder. And look, guys, I think this one I like it. I like it because he doesn't have to be crass. It shows a woman's beauty and sexuality without being offensive, I think, without being like, oh, your eyes, and, you know, without Googling and, you know, like basically just salivating, and it's just gross. But this has more class, I think. Okay, delight in disorder. A sweet disorder in the dress kindles in clothes and wantonness. A lawn about the shoulders thrown into a fine distraction. An erring lace, which here and there enthralls the crimson stomacher. A cuff neglected, and thereby ribbons to flow confusedly. A winning wave, deserving note in the tempestuous petticoat. A careless shoestring in whose tie I see a wild civility. Do more bewitch me than when art is too precise in every part. Well, here he's saying, you know, there's a delight in the disorder of it. Have you ever known somebody who is too proper? You know, like just perfect. If it's a tie, it's just, you know, like always like standing perfectly, like jacket and just perfectly, or whatever. No hair out of place. Someone who looks almost fake. Someone who almost reaches an uncanny valley, like almost android-like, so perfect, right? Or art that is that way. He's saying this poem is against that. And also, you could take that metaphor even farther and say, when you directly comment on something, it somehow cheapens it, But here, what is he saying? There's a sweet disorder in a dress. Kindles and clothes a wantonness. Kindle is like fire, and clothe, and it's like this wantonness, and it's this hint. So the beauty of sexuality is not in like saying it, just like it's in a subtlety, in a hint. He says it's in a scarf about the shoulders thrown as a distraction. It's kind of off-putting, but also very enticing. It's in an airing piece of lace. One little piece of lace that's cut to the side or cut in the wrong way or sticking in a strange way out of the dress, It's this lace enthralls the crimson stomacher. And in this case, the stomacher is the corset that's, it was very unhealthy for young women back then, a lot of times, because they would suck their bellies in so much. It's just, But it hints, this piece of lace that's kind of airing hints at what's beneath. There's a cuff that's neglected. Maybe a button is frayed or something, And that makes ribbons flow confusingly, not perfectly, but like maybe a little slouch to the side. And as she walks, maybe there's a wave. You've seen Marilyn Monroe with the pushing her dress down thing. Well, not that much, but maybe she's walking and there's just a wave of wind, and he calls it a winning wave, a deserving note, kind of just a bustle, kind of, oh gosh, in her tempestuous petticoat, maybe a careless shoestring that goes untied. And he says, these things bewitch me more than anything that's too precisely art. It's almost like he's saying, you're a flawed creature and I love you because of it. You're better because of it. I don't expect you to be fake. You don't have to be Kardashian, Attraction to another person is not always perfect beauty. Is that working for you? Like think about people like Anne Boleyn or Zelda Fitzgerald from history, that if you look at them physically, it's not like, it's not like Brad Pitt or somebody walks in the room and everybody faints because, so gorgeous or whatever. It's more like an X factor. No one can really say what it is, and so I think, there's this enticement in disorder, is what he's saying. It's hard to access. It's hard to, kind of put it into words, really. But he's saying that the hint of something is a lot better. Like, let me give it to you like this. I've told you guys many times, I say, like when I was a kid, if I wanted to see a boob, I'd have to go into my stepfather's Playboys and like take a look and then run, right? And that left some mystery to the whole thing. Yeah. And because of that, it was more sacred, But these days, what? You can open the internet, you see anything you want, right? Anything. And that just, I don't know, like, what to even say. Like, wow. and people get more and more depraved and just, it's a delightful thing to come back to something like this, where it's not about blah, but about the hint, and it leaves some dignity to the woman. It leaves some dignity to the whole thing.